Her message came in at 2:14 a.m. One sentence, a laugh, a warning disguised as humor. I've replaced all the locks. You don't live here anymore. Let's see how tough you are now. Haha. I stared at the glowing words inside my car, the same car I'd been sleeping in for the second night in a row. Rain tapped at the windshield like drumming fingers. She expected me to freak out, to plead, to crawl back. That had always been her miscalculation, mistaking silence for surrender. 2 days slipped by. 2 nights of cold seats, deserted roads, and a mind sharpening itself like steel. Then at 6:42 a.m., an email from her lawyer appeared. Subject: urgent. Message: we have a problem. Call immediately. I didn't call. I just leaned back against the headrest and watched the sun inch over the skyline like it, too, was preparing to reveal something. Whatever crisis they suddenly had, I knew it wasn't mine. Not anymore. And yet, beneath my calm, something darker moved. An old truth I'd avoided for months. This wasn't about locks or a building. It was about what she had been hiding inside it. Looking back, the clues weren't obvious. They whispered. Subtle changes in her voice. Late-night meetings. An emptiness in her eyes whenever she looked at me. She was a CEO, always busy, always in demand, always praised. I understood the pressure. I understood everything except the sudden disgust. It crept in quietly. The ignored calls after 9 p.m. The tiny flinch when I asked simple things. The smile aimed at her phone instead of at me. Then came the deleted texts, the secured folders, the business trips that stretched just 1 day longer than scheduled. When I asked her, gently, cautiously, she laughed. You're paranoid. She always knew how to use calmness like a weapon. Still, I believed her because believing is easier than facing betrayal. Until the night she walked in smelling of a cologne I'd never worn and no one at her company wore. I said nothing. I asked nothing. But something inside me shifted quietly, like a door closing on its hinges. The next morning, she was colder than the sheets she had slept on. 2 weeks later, she changed the locks and laughed. That was when it clicked. I wasn't paranoid. I was late. So I began small. Phone logs. Travel timelines. A careful reconstruction of her schedule. I requested copies of her company's public travel files, tucked away in the HR database she assumed I didn't know she'd given me access to. Everything she thought she'd hidden sat right there. Patterns appeared. Patterns pointed to people, and people pointed to secrets. Messages to Project Lead 07. Late-night drives to an address absent from any official record. Sudden cash withdrawals. I didn't confront her. Why interrupt her act before the final scene? I traced the address. A private condo purchased through her company's overseas branch to dodge attention. I didn't go in. I just waited across the street, watching the lights blink behind the curtains, listening to my own breath as she entered with someone beside her. Someone taller. Broader. Recognizable in outline, yet distant enough to deny. I didn't record a thing. Proof wasn't for a judge. It was for clarity. And clarity came. A week later, her company's accountant, an old friend, quietly sent me something. Expense reports. Travel receipts. Hotel bookings. 2 names on every form, hers and his, linked together like a confession typed on corporate letterhead. My hands stayed steady. My heartbeat didn't change. Inside, everything was falling into place. She'd locked me out because she was terrified I'd discover the truth too early. Clever, but not clever enough. The lawyer's message finally made sense. We have a problem. Indeed, they did. Because while she replaced the house locks, she forgot the one thing that mattered more. Her company laptop. The one she'd left in my car the last night we talked. She once accused me of forgetting things. Turns out, she was the forgetful one. 2 nights before the lawyer emailed, I had opened the laptop. Her password wasn't difficult, it was the name of the man she was seeing, spelled backward. Inside were messages. Dozens. Hundreds. Plans, weekends, promises she once made only to me. I read everything in silence. Then I forwarded it all to her board of directors. Not for revenge, for precision. She'd broken ethics rules, mixed romance with company funds, used executive budgets for private trips. She had built an empire on control, and I had just drawn a crack straight through the foundation. By the time the lawyer wrote to me, the board had already confronted her. They didn't waste time. Desperation makes people clumsy. She called me 6 times that morning. I ignored every one. At noon, I walked into the office building she used to command with her presence. She stood in the lobby waiting, eyes swollen, breathing shaky. "Why?" she whispered. Simple, expected, predictable. I placed the key she'd replaced 2 days before into her palm and said quietly, "You locked the wrong door." Her face didn't twist with anger, it crumbled with understanding. She finally saw that I never needed to break anything. I just needed to stop shielding her. Security approached. Not for me, for her. They escorted her upstairs for questioning. She didn't look back. Her empire was collapsing, and she could hear every stone fall. I walked out of that building lighter than I had in months. The city felt changed, sharper, honest. I didn't win or lose. I simply witnessed the truth. She tried to shut me out of a house. I watched her get shut out of her own life. As I reached my car, another email from her lawyer appeared, more panic, more alarm. I closed the notification without opening it. Some locks aren't meant to be opened again.